For those of you who may not be aware of following the news, Frank Young disappeared a few months ago, and the family has been searching for him for quite a while now. And this blanket dance that we're having here today is to raise funds to support the continued search efforts and to support the family as they work on bringing little Frank home. So I want to turn the microphone over to Chief Marcel Head, and then Chief Fabian Head, and then Teresa Whitecap will speak on behalf of the family, and then we'll have the drummers sing. We'll have the blanket up here, then people can go by. And I just want to thank you in advance for all your donations to the family. Miigwech.
Good afternoon to the Assembly. I stand here, with a humble heart, asking you for your support to help find little Frank, this picture that I hold in my hand. Frank, little Frank, as we referred to him, went missing April 19th. And the family have reached out to the leaders in Saskatchewan, the province of Saskatchewan, the RCMP, and as well as other people that have provided the resources and also the expertise in finding little Frank. But we're here to tell you that according to Indigenous Services Canada, have exhausted their resources in helping find Frank. And it's becoming more challenging to find resources, and that's why we are here today to ask for your generous donation to helping find Frank. Frank is from my own community, from Shoal Lake. His parents reside in Shoal Lake. But at the time of his missing, when he went missing, he was living with his aunt and uncle in Red Earth. And today, the family, as well as the two First Nations, Shoal Lake Cree Nation and Red Earth Cree Nation, ask for your support to donate, whatever amount you can donate for the cause, to find Frank. What is more even challenging is, people lose hope. People tend to come to their own conclusions. And unlike any other missing person in Canada, have lost all their efforts, to finding those missing, even men and women that have gone missing. The resources are not there. The expertise that we do rely on are not there anymore. So we as Indigenous people across Canada need to stand together. And we all support, in finding these people. Whether it's a woman, a young girl, a child. Today, we still have our people still searching for Frank by way of boats, ATVs, and on foot. It went even challenging when the price of fuel went up in the last little while. And therefore, that's one way, that we've seen the resources start to diminish. But again, on behalf of Shoal Lake Cree Nation, on behalf of my council, and on behalf of the Young, the Mackay, the Laughlin family, we thank you for your generous donations that you will be providing today. And we ask all, every person, every delegate, every person that has registered to this assembly to make a generous donation to help find Frank. Kasi kinanaskomit na ako, anus ka bentu tayag minai hentu tamata gostesi kanompat me kanun sa besi untuk tamata tapag nasweg tanigog paginigog no te pag naswego tawichiag tamiskoago napis Frank kasnigast Unigigo, minaniga giga ninimigot. Iga stesa ega ningutse. Uchichik. Magai giga ninimit nete migos yogag. Spiga hotai. Iga gotse miskowit. Magusang menote isentutamatag anusagi sigag. Tasud sa danig ikagipesi waniagok iskoak, skinig skwesak, napuisak, skinigiok, napeok. Ego si pegan si taisigonopat, megan mo sa isin tutamatag, kaya sa natin isto, ego si gispa, pag-usida mo na. Magay, anus ka isin tutamatag, di tayo ninagot siya, tansinimin anak, minayahawag, kung gagiwago matsik, Frank. Tapos ichi, hiditag, hiwatsimtag, minagichimigot si hiditag, saspin tepaginimon, tapag naswan ng skagisigak. With that, chiefs, councilors, delegation, we ask for your support. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Again, thank the co-chairs for allowing Red Earth and Shoal Lake and the family of Frank Young to come and share some information. You know, Frank went missing on April 19th. Outside his residence, to date, we've had over 600 volunteers come and help. We've had over 16 search and rescue crews come and help as well. And also we've had some numerous volunteers come from out of the province as well to make their trip and come and help and be part of the search. You know, the search is obviously, today's day 76 of the search. And, you know, as the search continues, we still continue to be hopeful. We still continue to perceive this as a rescue mission. And that hope we're talking about is the supernatural power of God, Creator, to give that strength to Frank that we found alive, that miracle, that we're hopeful that the Creator will answer those prayers. On June 19th, we had an awareness, June 21st, we had an awareness walk, which brought together the communities of the Shoal Lake and Red Earth Cree Nation. Today, we've somewhat beginning to exhaust our resources. ISK has somewhat pulled out 2 weeks ago. The RCMP pulled out 2 weeks ago as well. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency as well pulled out 2 weeks ago. So the search for the last 2 weeks have been primarily from the efforts of volunteers of Red Earth and Shoal Lake. We've also had a day of fast as well, cry to the Creator to answer our prayers. And we continue to ask for your support, your donations. As I said before, that we are beginning to exhaust our resources in searching for Frank, and we will continue to search for Frank. I'm thankful. God bless. Before I forget, I'd like to also announce and share an email address where you can send your donations. I apologize for not having this information on the screen, but the email address that we have is charlenehead@redearthcreenation.com. I'll provide this information to the chair to hopefully put up on the screen. So thank you.
We'll have one final speaker come address the Assembly, and then we will have one of our host drums play a song as the members continue to come and help support this family. We have the blanket here to receive the donations that you want to send to our family. Teresa.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here on behalf of my grandson, Frank Young, who has been missing since April 19th. Frank is an adorable boy. He is very creative in his classroom. I have his teacher standing beside me to come and support me. And she's been telling me stories about Frank. And I wish I can share them with you. But there's too much to share. Thank you. My family selected me to be the spokesperson for them. My brother passed away, who is Frank's grandfather. I'm the second oldest in the family, so I'm looking after my nieces. Frank's mom and dad, Frank's caregiver, who's my niece, Barbara Mackay, and Jarvis Mackay. I'd like to thank all the people that have come forward to support us in finding Frank. There are too many people to mention from my local community, Red Earth, external communities. Thank you. We have a lot of people that have come and cooked for the searchers. And I'm glad that they're providing food for these searchers, 3 meals a day. They wake up 6 o'clock in the morning to come and prepare meals for them. I have so much to be thankful for. And I come here with a heavy heart because my grandson is still missing. My family circle is broken. It's void. Frank has to come and fill that family circle again. I'm asking everybody in the building to say a prayer for my family. And that's what I tell my family on family page. Make sure you pray before you go to bed and ask our Creator to lead us to where Frank is so the searchers can bring him home. There's a lady that I want to thank that contacted me last week. And that's the one that got the ball rolling for me to be here, and her name is Brenda Bear. And I'd like to thank FSI and Vice Chief Heather Bear for financially helping me to be here and all the people that are involved. And I want to thank the people behind me that are standing behind me for the support. Chief Marcel, Chief Fabian, and all the people that are here. I thank you so much. And thank you for your donations. Like Chief had said, we are to a point where we need to fix our machines. I just received a text that one of the Argos broke down, and we need funds to pay for these. 3 engines for our boats also broke down, and they need to be fixed. So we need financial resources to get these fixed so the searchers can continue looking for my grandson, little Frank. And with that, thank you so much, everybody.
We
Thank
now
you.
ask.
Thank you, everyone, for the support. Appreciate it. And like the families requested, we ask that you pray for them, pray for their strength. Thank you for all your gifts today. Those of you that are sending e-transfers, we thank you in advance for that financial help. And most importantly, we want to pray for Frank to come home. So, Tk'emlúps, thank you.
To close off our ceremony.
E-transfer?
Yep.
Chief, what's the e-transfer?
We're going to go to close off this ceremony. We will have a song from Robert George to honor the family. But before we do, we're going to remind you of the email address for e-transfers. So it's Charlene, Charlene, head, HEAD, at redearthcreenation.com. So once again, Charlene Head at redearthcreenation.com. So I'd look towards our drummer to offer a song for the family.
Merci, Jimmy Gwitch. Thank you. C'était très émouvant. Et first thing, thank you so much. This ends the ceremony, this blanket ceremony. So thank you. Yep, you can. Alors, comme on reprend nos esprits, nous allons maintenant adresser le dernier point à l'ordre du jour pour la première journée de cette Assemblée générale annuelle, la 43e. Et je vais maintenant annoncer I will now turn in English. Thank you for your comprehension, because I have some guests to come to invite to the stage, so I want to make sure they can understand me. So, I will now announce the honoring ceremony, and I now call upon Regional Chief Antoine to come on the stage. So, Regional Chief Antoine, if you can come on the stage for the honoring ceremony. Here, how it's going to go. Regional Chief will make a brief introductory remarks, and then there is a video that will be put on the screen. It's a video of the Vatican trip that will be played, and then Regional Chief Antoine and the youth delegates will present each delegate with a gift, and then we'll hear an honor song. And then this will put an end to the honoring ceremony. And I will now ask all the delegation to please, if you're present in the room, if you can go in the front where the others are, so you can get prepared for when we will ask you to please come to the stage. And just for you to know that some part of the delegation will be present online, and others will be present here in person. So thank you, and now I invite Regional Chief Antoine to address the Assembly. Thank you, Regional Chief.
Merci. C'est merci joka c'est là cho Jean nahinda da merci ne de sinata. C'est là qu'on tenende ko sai ji dana ko sai ahte. Anda jo tout ça jo ka je quand da sida nenda de sinata da e wo sei de da merci ne de sinata. Good evening, and when I was in Gatineau area, I also learned to also understand bonsoir to all of you. I'd like to acknowledge the original nations of family that we are here gathered upon. Also, where I come from the southwest part of the Northwest Territory, and last spring we hit the national news. My community of Tk'emlúps, Fort Simpson, got flooded out, and I'm sure you all saw what happened to us, and so that's where I come from. It's also a place where the Holy Father in 1987, Pope Paul II, came to visit my community, and at that time I was a chief. And so I've been introduced to their system and their processes, and also was an audience with the Pope Paul John II, May of 1987. And since then, I've been on a walkabout, and so last December the 9th, I was elected the Dene National Chief, and it automatically gave me the position of the AFN Regional Chief for my area. So I've been in this position for 7 months. And it just so happened that the portfolio also came along with it. And I'd like to thank the National Chief, Rosanne, Archibald, for putting the trust in me to be able to get parachuted in, get my feet on the ground, and also to be able to look at the situation and look at the people that were also involved and look at how we could be able to move forward. And over there, I also learned a very special signature that is also doodled on the ceiling of the Sustained Chapel, and it's like this, and you might have seen it on TV a couple of months ago. And today, there was one person that also showed us that sign, but he took it apart and he showed this. And so I wanted to just to touch that on there because it talks about pointing fingers and also looking at those 3 fingers that point back at us. And it's really important that we understand the responsibilities of doing this reflection and looking at the situation, looking at how we could frame steps forward. So with that, when I landed there, I was welcomed by the representatives of the regions, and I was really thankful that they were there and that they were also had a path forward. And so I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude and celebrate you and also the work that you all do in your dedication to all your people. I just want to say that we did our very best to ensure that all survivors were heard, also the voices of the young ones who never came home. And I'm really thankful that we represented them with care while we were there, and also the paths forwards were cleared. And also that these things that were cleared was throughout the walls of the Vatican. Also within the minds and hearts of Pope Francis and the Canadian bishops. It was an honor to walk alongside all the delegations who words can hardly describe the power of how well each shared the truth, the intentions, and the desires for all our people. There was strength, and there was also integrity that was shared with the Pope. The vibrations of all our energy that we place there on your behalf within the walls is profound. I share these words that our former colleague had shared with us because the way that she really described it is so powerful. And the powerful moment of all your work together that we also put it into the words that we shared with Pope Francis has begun to be felt around the world, for which our next 7 generations will benefit and know that we showed up for them. Our people will come to thrive, and we should all feel a sense of humbleness in helping fulfill the dreams of our ancestors. Yes, this is certainly a powerful moment which continue to affirm our beliefs as the original nations of families. When our delegation were speaking, our relatives came to support us. The skies cleared, the sun shined, the wind blew, and the voices of our relatives singing and dancing. In these moments, all your prayers, the prayers of our people, the tobacco offerings, the ceremonies that were held, could be felt powerfully in the room while we were sharing the truth. I recall looking around our delegations. They sat tall and strong. The grandmothers were there with us. The grandfathers were there protecting us, and were being greeted by our people, singing, acknowledging us, brought tears from the soul. I hope you felt that too. Thank you for our young ones for being so brave. They were very courageous and forthright in telling the truth. For all our family, the original nations of families. And as my colleague had shared, is that we believe the moment represented, even presented, a greater shift within the walls of the Vatican. Even an elderly grandmother shared that a web of wisdom was laid down with the Vatican by what we all did. We were there, we were meant to be there. However, all of you, all of our relatives, way before, since the world was new, and when the newcomers came to our shore, all those things that our people had done made it possible for this very special, powerful moment. And even today, it's a very powerful moment. We need to work together to frame steps forward, and we need to also understand, be with each other and understand the situations so that we could be able to work together like a family. And so the words, prayers, songs, and dances will continue throughout this web. May you each walk in peace, continue to fly among the eagles, for each of us is truly a protector for our people, the lands, our Mother Earth, and our future generations. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for your families, our nations, for carrying on our teachings, for the help shape us into the strong, forthright, and diplomatic human beings you are today. Continue to walk strong and tall for our young ones see you and what you do. Let's now hold each other up in our hearts and minds, and with the work we use in recalling this historic moment, for which we each so courageously responded to its call. It's a moment that has made our ancestors proud. By representing for all our people, our family, with respect and dignity, by holding each and every precious one who did not return home in the highest with love. May we send all our people continued strength on the path to healing, for the world will now have come to look at our people of Turtle Island in a new light, and also for guidance. Let us be united in peace and strength, for all our future depends upon it. Our deepest respect and admiration to each of you. This is the moment for which you came to have to fulfill, and I really would like to commemorate the delegation because they did an amazing, and also may their days be filled with peace and resolve to carry forward in the work that we do for all our people. And the way that my colleague also expressed it is that I hold you up and rub you with my good medicine. And this to be wrapped around you with a promise to always care for you. And she also said that I look forward to when we meet again. So I just want to share those words of my colleagues because they really reflect the situation that we had been confronted with, and also what we had to do and what we had to say. And I'm very thankful for the delegation for doing what they needed to do and also to speak the truth. I've got other things to say, but I just wanted to put that into perspective. And I understand that there's going to be a little video, and I think that the video will also provide you the images of the things that I shared with you, and so you'll have an opportunity to put them two together. And I'd like to thank you again for giving me this moment. Masi.
Thank you so much, Regional Chief Antoine. So, as Regional Chief just mentioned, I would now announce the video, if the video can now be played on screens. Please, a 5 minutes video. Thank you.
And hear the stories of those who are related to survivors and understanding the impacts that it's had upon our peoples.
He said, if they recognize us as human beings, they're going to have to admit we have human rights.
In terms of the relationships with Canadians and the Catholic Church, I mean, they're central to this story.
Tell the truth about our history, about what happened at residential schools, how Indigenous people suffered and were marginalized through the whole colonizing enterprise, to acknowledge our role and responsibility.
Our young people were taken away from their families and were taken away and gone to residential school and were stripped off their language, their culture, at the same time being abused.
But I could hear children crying all the time, you know, when they're lined up and they're being hit. But I was so afraid. In the sky world.
I believe that this offers survivors a real opportunity to turn this story around.
What I'd like to hear, the Pope has a true understanding and empathy for our people and the experiences they suffered.
To bring that true emotional, that hurt to the Pope, to relay that message. First Nations are resilient.
We're here. You know, we're carrying the messages of hope and the messages of pain, the importance of him knowing our truths that we had brought forward collectively.
And my life is where I'm at today because of these systems and what had happened to our people. And
it's so much more than just that apology.
The apology is one thing. It's the actions that are required.
We'll hear from him something of the steps forward. Chief Cadmus Delorme often speaks about the day after the apology as the most important day.
Come in here. Bring that message across.
Okay, thank you for this video. And Regional Chief Antoine will now, and the youth delegates will now present each delegate with a gift. So we'll now call upon Leanne Goose to come and to manage this part of the honoring ceremony. So, to you, Leanne.
Merci. My name is Leanne Goose. I work with the National Chief, Regional Chief Antoine, and serving the Dene Nation and the people here at our homeland in Turtle Island. Our delegation recognizes those in the audience who are able to be in attendance with us, but I'd like to take a moment to recognize those of you at home. Our spiritual advisor, Michelle Shenandoah, Chief Marianne Daywalker, Marlene Cloud, Grand Chief Mandy Galmasti, Phyllis Googoo, former National Chief Phil Fontaine, Madeline Weber, and Marlene Thomas. In the audience today, please rise. Rosalie Billebois, please join us. Taylor Bain Tizaka, John Bacali, Cookby Roseanne Casimir, Dr. Wilton Littlechild, and Elder Fred Kelly.
While the gift are given or presented, I will now ask the honor song to be played. So drummers, please play the honor song. And just want to acknowledge that there is another member of the delegation that is present online, and Adeline Weber, youth delegation, present online. So we acknowledge all present. Thank you. Okay. The drum, the honor song, please.
Dene maganetok. Kshimi weshkitin nedem kana jvesh goana gizek. Kagi ko ataken tamegi gina kinamati go migon. Yuta feniga zat ke gita fenochi miog. Yegi no tsago yum khamigo ngego. Vi esajga gistagozana shna magek. In my language, with the Anishinaabe language, I say to my dear brothers, all of you, brothers and sisters, not one of us is immune from the atrocities that we have endured over the generations of the residential school legacy. Those of you who attended and suffered, those of you who were physically abused, emotionally abused, sexually abused, all of us, including myself. I was 5 years old when I was thrown into a residential school in St. Mary's, Kenora, Ontario. My braids were shorn, my clothes were stripped, and given some other clothes, like all of us were given, to make a white man out of me, to Christianize me, and told that regardless of what I did to expiate myself, I was condemned because I was a savage, I was a pagan. You know those stories that I'm talking about. And so it is in commemoration as well as we celebrate and we honor the delegates that went to Rome. It is in these memories of those people that suffered those atrocities, those that did not make it home, those that are still in unmarked graves, those that lost their way and drowned, those that got run over by railway tracks as they tried to get home, those that got run over by cars on their way home, those that were lost in whatever way. It is in their memory that the delegation I was honored to act as a spiritual advisor to. These delegates, each and every one of them, and I add this to what the regional chief has already said about the delegation. I also take the time to thank the regional chief, Gerald Antoine, for the wonderful work that he did leading this delegation with such pride and dignity, representative of his own people. These are the kinds of leaders that we rely on, and the ones that he replaced and those ones that came before him. Each and every one of these people, as they gave the message to the Pope, to His Holiness, did so with such dignity that comes from our ancestors, your grandparents, the legacy, the beautiful blessings that we refer to in my language as Gijewatazewin, which includes love, kindness, sharing, respect, truth, courage, and humility. This is what was displayed. And when I was brought in, I also asked that perhaps that I was not, being a male should not be the only one. And the Haudenosaunee delegated Michelle Shenandoah to conjoin us. She offered a cradle board to the Pope that she wanted brought back tomorrow, symbolic of the fact that we can attend residential schools, but we must be returned to our culture. And this was tremendous what she did. Every one of these people, as Gerald announced their names individually, did that. I also want to acknowledge with great gratitude and sincerity and humility the work that the executive of the Assembly of First Nations did to put together this delegation, because these delegates were chosen from the different regions by you people out there to represent you people. And they did so seeking an apology. That apology was extended. And I say to you when I speak on my own, I had no right to accept that apology personally on your behalf. That is you, up to you to either reject or to accept that apology. And that is the kind of dignity that these people wanted to give you the opportunity, but they did tremendous work to gain that apology. That was one of them. The other thing that I personally did as your spiritual advisor, in the private encounter with the Pope, His Holiness, I spoke to him from a microphone across the room, but I did not like the space between us. That is not our way. I left the microphone and I went to him with pipe in hand and a feather in hand. And as I walked towards him, I saw the smoke rising from the pipe. And a white eagle, the shape of a white eagle, came down. And I saw a dove as well. And I pointed out to His Holiness, as I approach you, I see the white eagle that looks after our people on Turtle Island, whence you also came, now flying with the dove that descended upon your church. And they fly together, which behoves us to walk together towards peace and harmony in what we refer to as reconciliation, because that was the spirit and intent of what these beautiful people that gave me the honor to be with them and purport to be their spiritual advisor. I'm not a spiritual advisor of any one of them, because they are also spiritual people in their own right that come from your own cultures and spiritualities, and they are beautiful people, and I love them. I also want to thank, finally, my duty for being here today. And I was just asked recently, before I came up here, to present this, and so I do so with great pride, and wishing and congratulating and thanking our National Chief, Roseanne Archibald, for the leadership that she provided in this delegation and the message that was read to His Holiness in the private encounter by one of our delegates. The message did get to him. I gave him a pair of moccasins and I said, now that I have seen this vision, your name is White Eagle. And I present to you these moccasins so that you will walk with us in the spirit in which the Creator, the only one God that represents all spiritualities and to whom we pray. I also offered him the white feather, and I said, may you walk with us as you come to Turtle Island. It was not my intention to formally invite him, but that was the spirit. And then we didn't know what would happen after that. We found out later that he would in fact be coming here. And I told him, when I do a name passing ceremony, I usually do that with a feast. A feast awaits you on Turtle Island. And those were my simple messages to him. On your behalf, and I thank you very much for having given me personally to travel with these beautiful people, the wonderful work that they did. And also on behalf of the delegation, who say with great gratitude to the executive of the Assembly of First Nations, and also in the personage of Gerald, Antoine, who was the regional chief. And so I present this, and I had the feather pointing in four directions, the four skies, the four earths, Shkaves, to present Roseanne Archibald, the National Chief, on behalf of the delegates, with our great gratitude to accept this gift. And as I pass this gift on, I say to her, may peace and harmony be with you as you move forward with the executive on behalf of our people. Miigwech.
Thank you very much, Knowledge Keeper Fred Kelly, for your good words and all that you shared with us. I now invite Knowledge Keeper Dr. Wilton Littlechild to address the Assembly. To you, Doctor.
Thank you. Hai nikan semanto na naskama. May kan mohte siga son maskochi sigoche. Kwa usaugi heo. Siga sonasti. Kanak tepiak enochte mam skuta manigok ehatam hiegum uta kape mi yakohe mstahigoe. Good evening. I just introduced myself in my language, Cree. My name is Willie Littlechild in English. My Cree name is Maikat Mohteo, Walking Wolf from Muscogee's territory. And my chief's name is Usaugeheo, which is Golden Eagle. I just asked for permission to, on behalf of my community, the Muscogee's Cree, invite each and every one of you to the Pope Francis visit on our territory in Muscogee's. He will be landing on July 24th. He will want to rest from a long journey. But on the 25th of July in the morning, he will be visiting the Ermineskin Cree Nation, part of Muscogee's. He wants to say a private prayer as the first tradition papal visits have. Secondly, he wants to go to the graveyard and say a silent prayer for the children that never made it home. Thirdly, he wants to visit the school site. And then fourthly, he will come and meet as many survivors as can make it, because that day, that morning, he will be making a major statement, and we want to honor the survivors on that day. So you're all invited, each and every one of you, and hope that you'll join us. Hai hainen naskuman. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Wilton Littlechild. I now ask Regional Chief Antoine if he has closing remarks before we end this honoring ceremony. Regional Chief Antoine, to you.
Masi chukashu nizna ayuchada masi nidsineta. I'd like to, on behalf of the delegation and the leadership, I'd like to thank you for giving us this moment. It's a very historic moment for all of us. There's a new light on us, and the three fingers that are pointing back at us, that's our responsibility to really reflect and to make the appropriate choices as we frame steps forward together. That's why I'd like to say Masi again. Masi.
Thank you very, very much to the delegation, to all of you that have spoken here at the microphone, at the assembly microphone, and all of you present online. Thank you very, very much. So, to that, this ends the honoring ceremony. Thank you so much. Pendant que nous faisons une transition vers la fin, j'aimerais maintenant offrir la parole à mon collègue Cédric qui a quelques annonces à vous faire avant de prendre une pause jusqu'à demain matin. Alors, to that, I'll now turn the floor over to my colleague Cédric. Cédric, to you.
I'd like to first start off, as we're going towards the closing of this first day, recognize and say Walalia, thank you to all of our delegates who went and did so much for the healing journey of our ancestors, those who survived, and those who live with these realities every day. I really do raise you up and recognize each and every one of you. So, I had said that we would make this official. So, for the record, I want to enter the results for Emergency Resolution 03, Special Business Suspension of the National Chief. The final tally is 44 votes for, 252 votes against, and 26 abstentions. As mentioned earlier, this means the resolution did not receive 60% approval and thus was defeated. My second message for you tonight is to thank everyone in the participation. We know these subjects are difficult to address sometimes, but the decorum that you guys showed really is appreciated. As co-chairs, this isn't always the easiest decision, so I recognize each and every one of you. Tonight, at 6:30 Pacific time, which is not too long from now, there will be in this room the Doctrine of Recovery premiere, a documentary that's headlined by Academy of Canadian Cinema and Television award-winning actor Crystal Lightning from Enoch Cree First Nation, which will be happening in this room at 6:30, so in about an hour. And finally, we will go to recess and be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 Pacific time in the same room. So have a great evening. Thank you for your participation. Good night, everyone. 44 for, 252 against, and 26 abstention.